Hey y'all, Jonathan here for innerVIVID, coming to you from the lands of the Jagera and Turrbal people, lands never ceded. We're here for Theme 3 of innerVIVID, the program that's all about helping you explore some big questions about life and what we like to call spirituality, or the big S to her friends. In Theme 3, we're going to drive up and down the car park of purpose and meaning, looking for answers, and a park, damn it. What does life mean? Why am I here? Why are you there? Why is maths still on the telly? That sort of thing. To start, let's get in the mood. What are you looking for in life? If you had to choose, because it's more fun to ask that way, what would you choose? Money or love?
Is that the real question? Well, we're always going to say love, I hope. A lot of people will say love.
You can't possibly say money, can you? I mean, it'd just be ridiculous. I mean, obviously it would be nice to have more money as well.
But money's kind of a tool, whereas
exactly.
love can't be earned.
Yes, that's very well put.
Love makes the world go round. Love is important.
Yeah, the people who come with nothing, they're the people who really know the value of relationship. Because if you've got nothing, then your relationship with other people is everything.
Money is useful for all sorts of things, but it won't really replace love.
Love, because it's like chocolate.
Tell us more about that.
What's your favourite type of chocolate? Whatever I'm eating at the moment.
Fair enough.
It has to be love, doesn't it? If we don't have connections with people, you can have all the money in the world and whatever you need, and you can always have more money, can't you? But with love and relationships and people, then your time is filled with connection, and that seems to be, that seems to be our purpose in some ways.
Without love, life is meaningless. Love is the fulfillment, love is the purpose, love is the means, love is the reason.
Yeah, okay, I get it already. Love, sure, love's pretty great. So, purpose. Ever wondered about that big stuff? Nearly everyone does at some stage, staring at the crashing waves, or in the checkout queue, or late at night in the 2 a.m. darkness. Why am I here? So first, why is this pondering about what we're here for so common?
In quieter moments, people often wonder what their purpose is. Why is that?
Look, I think we naturally think about bigger questions and things outside of ourselves. I think that's natural to being human. And so we want, in some sense, connection to something bigger than ourselves. We see that in all sorts of fields in life. I think of Indigenous spirituality and its connection to country and connection to people. That's a really good example of this idea of a sense of there's something bigger than me. Where do I fit into this? Where do I fit into the world around me? I recognise that I don't just exist in my own little bubble, but actually I am in some way dependent upon other people, other beings in the world around us. So I think those questions are very natural to being human.
The preface that I would like to give to any conversation about purpose is that I have the privilege and the luxury of being born into a life where I can consider what my purpose might be. For me, I think about my own purpose in terms of what is life-giving for me and life-giving for others. I believe that one of my purposes in this life that I've been called here to be is a violinist, and so that's what I do, and that is part of my purpose, certainly, to live that out. I also believe that one of my purposes is to be called into ministry, and sometimes that feels really joyful, and sometimes that feels like something that I cannot run away from.
I think in the quieter moments is where we have the time to think of the deep questions. I think life is busy. We are just doing daily life, and it's often in those times when we do stop and we slow down a little that we start to question, what is life all about? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And I think in the hustle and bustle of our lives, we just don't always have the headspace to do that. So that's why the quiet times are often those special times.
I think when we stop and we're quiet, I think that we're no longer contending with noise and speed, which are the two things that really impact us a lot in the world today. When we're not contending with noise and speed, I think that it just gives a chance for the subconscious to bubble up the things that have probably been sitting in the back of our mind all the time. I don't think it's anything new that hasn't been sitting there before. It's just giving space for those ideas to come forward. And when that happens, then it's a chance for us to think about some of those issues about purpose.
Okay, Cinch. So we make some quiet times and we think about connection. I mean, I certainly want the world to be a better place. Have you seen free-to-air commercial TV? I hope most people want things to be better. No way, do most people want that?
We want to know that we matter and how we make sense of that in a world where there's so much stuff going on, and those moments to pause and reflect are great opportunities to make sense of all of that and how I matter within everything else that's going on.
Okay, just to set up Liz once again, why do quieter moments often have people wondering about purpose?
Because they're bored. I think we all long to be able to give to the world in some way or another. Your world might be small or your world might be large, but whatever your world is, we want to be able to value add to that space. So knowing what it is that drives you will help you learn what your purpose is, and then you will, no matter what it is, you'll have that sense of fulfillment, I think. Yeah, I think there's a longing for fulfillment and a longing for connection and a longing for being able to give and to live to the fullness of our world and our life.
I think because purpose or meaning in life are not simply given or obvious to anybody. Purpose is about desire and commitment, and those things have to be continually rediscovered and renewed across a life. And I think that we spend actually a lot of our times avoiding or defending against what is perhaps the most difficult question in life to answer, which is, what do I want? And we surround ourselves with distractions that actually prevent us from engaging that question, what do I want? And what we're usually doing there is warding off a kind of anxiety that on a deeper level, that what I want may actually lead my life in a different direction that it's heading, and we don't want to engage with that anxiety. But in quieter moments, that anxiety tends to rear its head and insist on being felt.
I suspect that for many people, life can feel a bit purposeless. Or more than that, our purpose is kind of imposed on us by a society that says you have to be a consumer, you have to keep the economy ticking over, you have to do your part to make the world go round. And it seems like we're just another commodity. And I want to rail against that, because I think we are more than just a consumer. But our world says be a consumer. And so there's kind of this rubbing up against that. And that's when I think people think about, well, is this all there is? Is this it? I don't think that's all there is. And I suspect that many people ask that question when it all seems a bit kind of purposeless.
Wow, Sarah, that's big for me. I do agree with Peter that being nervous that our lives are not going the way we want can be a reason we might avoid thinking about purpose. But also, Sarah, yes, absolutely. I wonder if our cultures can push roles onto us as consumers or outrage machines for social media, or happy nuclear family members, if we really still have them. I mean, maybe we're happy with these roles. That can be comforting, I guess. But I like the idea that springs out of that we should have some choice in deciding our purpose. Of course, acknowledging Alana, that having space in our lives to ponder purpose might even be a privilege. Although, I also wonder if being lower on the food chain has you wondering or even questioning purpose more often sometimes. I know one thing for sure. For me, I have to consciously make space from the noise and speed of life to give me my best shot at working this stuff out. Quiet moments do happen, but I think I also have to make sure they happen. Otherwise, I'm kinda anaesthetising myself with my phone or whatever from thinking about purpose. What do you think?